Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror PSA presented by Scary Nerd, and as always, we are your hosts. I'm Paul.
I'm Saul.
And I'm Angie.
The following is a public service announcement.
Five friends head to a remote cabin where the discovery of a book of the dead leads them to unwittingly summon up demons living in the nearby woods. That's right, we watched the Evil Dead remake from 2013, and damn it, I love this fucking movie.
This movie is a great movie. It is a brilliant homage to the original, but actually brings a darker version into the universe.
Oh,
It does so much.
Mm-hmm. The opening scene, like it shows you where we're going.
No, I love the opening credits where it's like, so-and-so in this pictures, and then it's like, boom, and then just right into the fucking action. Like, it just
into
takes
that
you.
fucking forest scene where it's
Yes.
just fog, and you just see like some poor little girl walking along.
The nightgown girl's just running around. Like, you get the sense like she's running for her life, right?
Yeah.
And then you see the creepy redneck dudes like, looking for her or whatever, and then the one finally gets her, and the other hits her with the butt of the
gun,
shotgun.
yeah. The rednecks are following her, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, that whole opening scene, it shows you what kind of movie we're getting. We're getting no
Yes.
camp. We're
No,
getting a
it's
shit ton of
straight-
gore. We're getting brutality.
Straight brutal horror.
And we're getting
Yes.
great
Yes.
effects because the fire effect when she's on fire and like she's screaming at her dad, I
Yes.
love it.
What did she say?
I will rip your soul
I will
out,
rip your
Daddy.
soul out, Dad. Where's
Because she's
Mom?
saying, like, please don't do this, Daddy. All I want to do is go home. Please
wanna go
hold me.
home.
And then she just flips.
I love it because
Rip your soul out.
she still does the little voice. I will rip your soul out, Daddy.
Please, Dad.
I love it because that's a Deadite, man.
Yes.
that is a
Yes.
Deadite, and that has always
It
been the
is-
Deadite,
yes,
flipping
it's-
back and
it's
forth.
Cunning. It's tricksy.
Yes.
I have to say the old lady that's reading the book and talking whatever fucking language she's talking, she actually plays a Deadite in the pilot episode of Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Oh.
So kind of in the same universe, but not. But I do want to point out Sam Raimi was always on board for it.
Mm-hmm.
He said, this is a great story. I think you could take it and update it, and it would be really well. Bruce Campbell was not on board with it in the beginning. He was like, no, I don't want anyone to play Ash. And I read in the trivia that in very, very, very early talks, before any director or anyone was really attached to it, when they knew that they wanted to remake it, they were planning on doing, like another Ash version.
Yeah.
And IMDb said they considered fucking Ashton Kutcher and Marlon Wayans to play Ash.
No.
What the fuck?
Yes.
No,
So I was
Hollywood,
like,
no.
I'm with Bruce Campbell. I'm so glad that he was like, nope, don't do this shit.
Yeah.
You're gonna shit on everything we've done.
No, and I love that they didn't like Mia is perfect. I
Yes.
love Mia in this.
So their whole plan was like, okay, once they got into the story, we're gonna update it, but make it someone else. He was more on board with it.
Yeah.
And he had always planned like, okay, fine. We want to do one where we, send Ash off into the sunset and we incorporate Mia's character in it as well.
Yeah.
So that's in the same universe.
I
So
want that. That's
I
what
would
I want.
still love for that to fucking happen, but
Yes.
it doesn't sound like that's going to happen anytime soon if it does ever happen.
No,
Hope it
because
does.
like I said, there's a ton of homages, but it rips nothing off. But like the way Fede Alvarez points your eye to places, that's where the homages come in. It's not a direct rip off of any of the scenes or any of the things that they've done in the past with the Evil Dead franchise, but there's just like Fede Alvarez is really great about pointing your eye at the Easter eggs he wanted
And
you to see.
and he does use a lot of practical effects, mainly as an homage to the original, because he was like, you know what, they were able to do all this shit on a very, very low fucking budget. So
Oh, yeah.
we should be able to do it now with all the shit that we have. So the only, I think, CGI they use is, I think,
The fire.
The
there's
fire.
the fire scenes, and I think there was some other things where they had to remove like cables or something. If, like,
Yeah,
someone's
probably.
getting thrown across. He's like, but other than that, like, it's all practical shit. Like all the blood, all the. My favorite wound is Eric's knife wound when he.
when they're
takes it
they're
off.
duct taping it up in
Yes,
the.
and it's like when he takes
shed.
that like shirt off or whatever he's holding, and like the blood's just pouring. I'm like, that looks.
It looks real,
Like,
yeah.
I would imagine. I've never seen someone bleeding out of a knife wound, but I'm like, that's probably what it looks like.
I-
The thing I said when that happened was like, what's the one thing they always teach you, especially with if you get anything impaled into you? It's like, don't fucking pull it out.
If you take it out, you're gonna bleed.
Yeah.
you're basically taking the plug out of the bottom of the boat, and
Yeah.
you're letting everything come out. So.
But going back to that opening scene, the foreshadowing, you needed it.
Yeah.
You needed the foreshadowing coming up because I love that there's that burned scar victim standing there. And to me, that connects the ending, like how Mia went out. She was buried alive. She had to be at peace. So clearly they've done this to that person and they cleansed him with the fire. That's how I took it.
Okay, but then why did that bitch just leave the fucking book there for anyone to find?
I don't know. There's a lot of things like that. I'm like, no, take that
like
with you.
putting it in a trash bag and then putting barbed wire around it. And I'm like, that just makes idiots like Eric
be like,
curious.
Hey, what's in here?
Okay, you want to talk about idiots? Let's not take somebody who needs to go through withdrawals to the fucking woods.
Okay.
So, like,
See, that is my thing. It's like when they first get there, I'm like, this cabin makes me want to do drugs.
Yes.
I'm like, I can't even imagine.
I can't detox here.
Yeah,
like, what the fuck are you thinking?
And then I'm like, and then when they show the bathroom, I'm like, really? Like, you guys are planning on staying here for like what? A few days, a week? Like, this is like
at least 3 days.
This is like a meth cabin.
Yeah,
like,
no.
And the fact that I'm like that you hadn't been here in years, probably, because from the looks of it, right? They get there and it's just dilapidated and there's shit, like the
and they're like somebody broke in.
Someone broke it and was like, you just left the key on top, wasn't it? Like,
no,
wasn't that one? No,
okay. no. That was the original.
Oh, that's right. That was the original. Okay.
When they Airbnb'd the
yes.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, they own this cabin. But clearly somebody has been in there doing stuff, and I love that. Yeah, that was my horror PSA for this week, kids. If somebody needs to detox, don't take them to the cabin in the woods. You're not a doctor.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
take them to a place where they can safely do it.
I get that Olivia was a nurse and all that, and they at least had somebody with medical training. But I'm like, you're taking someone to kick, drugs.
Is it coke? Because
I think it was coke.
It's powder,
or something like that.
So you're getting someone. You're taking someone to detox and kick the habit or whatever. I'm like, why take them to like a meth shack basically?
Yeah,
because this is what it looked like.
Oh, remember this place where we had fun times with our dead mother? Let's go there so you can detox.
Well, we can have all those pictures of
here was my issue with Olivia. She's a registered nurse. She should know how bad it's going to be. Don't you think if you're going to get anybody detoxed off of anything, you should be under the supervision of medical professionals?
Yeah, and where is she getting all this stuff? Was she stealing from work?
Apparently.
Because like she had vials of shit and syringes and
kids know if somebody needs to detox, you take them to a facility to the detox.
And just the fact, just because she's a nurse doesn't mean she knows what the fuck she's doing when it comes to like withdrawals and detox.
Because here's the thing, they even said it. She's going to get really bad. She's going to say stuff that's going to make us like question it. Okay, you have an emotional attachment to the person who's going to the detox.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to play to your weaknesses and do the whole thing of where, I'm better now, I'm better this, I'm better than that. No. Take them to a medical facility because these people are used to this.
Yes.
They have no emotional attachment to the person they're trying to detox.
They're not going to be like, oh, we feel sorry for you.
They're not going to show any of that. They know, okay, this person is going to go through withdrawals like heavy. So put them in the professional place to where they can be properly cared for.
Yeah, and really, what made them confident that this was going to work when they've tried it before?
Yeah. I know they're like, she lasted 8
like,
hours.
Last time, I'm like, last time, what the fuck? Like,
so then why are y'all still trying to do this by yourselves?
Exactly.
Yeah, obviously, you don't know what the fuck you guys are doing.
Yeah,
and you're going to a freaking dilapidated shed, nonetheless.
Okay, when we get to the cabin and you see that that bench outside, the bench swing, the wooden bench swing, I'm like, I cannot see a wooden bench swing in any place, house, cabin, or whatever, without thinking of Casey Jones in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. Like, when he falls off of it.
Yeah,
like,
where it breaks and just
I
falls down.
always think of that, and that's probably why I never trust those fucking things. So
that makes me just think of April O'Neil with a hammer.
He's like, sit down.
There, Whoopi, no. I would not go out with you if you were the last man on earth or something like that.
Yes. So it was April that hit the dog then. She hit the hammer.
No, she might have, yeah.
So
April
this
O'Neil.
movie tells me that dogs have no souls. If the abomination needs 5 souls, then Grandpa didn't count.
Nope, he did not.
Okay, and I want to say Grandpa is both simultaneously the cutest and creepiest name you could ever name a dog.
Yes.
That is, I'm like, it's kind of cute, but at the same time, no, it's just creepy. Because imagine you're out looking for Grandpa, and it's like, oh, my grandpa crawled under here. Like, what's wrong with your grandpa?
That, but think about it. If you're in the city and you can't find your dog, and you're yelling out, "Grandpa, come here!" Like, what are you looking for?
Like, do we need to call the elder police?
Like,
Do we need
silver alert?
Do we need a silver alert? Like, no, that's just my dog. I named him Grandpa. He's like, why did you name your dog Grandpa?
What the fuck is wrong with you? I do drugs.
And I have issues with David as a character. Like, he's like, oh, I'm gonna be there for you, Mia, and everything, and like, we see it, but like, bitch, you don't even know your sister OD'd. Like, why are you here? Why did you came?
He seemed like a shitty ass brother, especially when she started telling the story about how, what is it?
Yeah, you never came to visit mom. I always
While
had
she was
to-
in the
Oh, she was
hospital?
dying.
Yeah, I had to
Yeah.
lie to her and like, you're on your way.
Like, you made me lie to her.
You're
And then the whole thing
coming.
about it is like, well, I had just gotten the job at the garage and I couldn't find this
Yeah.
and couldn't do this. Like, motherfucker, if your mom is on her deathbed, I'm pretty sure the job that you just started is going to understand and say, okay, take the time off you need to go be with that person.
Yeah.
Okay, to me, the creepiest thing about this whole fucking movie is when David tells Mia she's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a little too.
I mean, you can say those things to your sister, but like on her wedding
you
day
can't.
or on her
No, yeah, fine.
graduation day.
If it's a special thing like that,
Yeah.
like you're in your wedding gown, like I get it. Okay, you look beautiful, but I'm like, who says? Like, Saul, have you ever told your sister she looked beautiful?
No. I've
It's
told
like-
her the opposite. I've told her
Yeah.
like so many different things.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
there's-
why you fucking dress like that?
Yeah.
like there's more of a chance that I'd be like, you smell like a bag of dicks than I would be like, you
Yeah.
look beautiful.
Sisters and brothers aren't really.
Yeah, they're not the most loving relationships.
But yeah, like he's like, oh, we're gonna do this, and I'm here for you, and like I couldn't get over. He's like, oh, she OD'd. Like, bitch, where have you been?
She's
like,
done drugs. What the fuck do you think? This is how many
ugh,
times
but
have
then
they tried to
nobody is
detox her?
listening
Yes.
to Mia, and that
I know,
pisses me off. Like
I-
they're all supposed to be there for her, and she's like, "It's fucking smells," and they're like, "No, you're crazy. You're just crazy."
I'm like when they finally she's having that whole thing where it's like it smells in here, it smells in it because like we cut to like 8 hours later, she's like, I can't fucking do that.
yes. Like it fucking stinks. I can't do this. You guys don't smell that? Like what the fuck is that's every pregnant woman ever. Like
And yeah,
what
and-
the fuck is that smell? And everybody's like, there's nothing that smells. And then
When
we go
the-
find
yeah.
the smell and we're
When-
like, huh?
When Grandpa starts pawing at the rug and they're like,
Oh,
what's going
no.
on here? And
Yeah.
they see that blood going into the basement.
Yeah, they find
thing.
the bloody trap door.
No,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna do that. If I ever own a cabin, I'm gonna do that just as a fucking like theft deterrent. Like someone breaks into my house, like, holy shit, we need to get the fuck out of here right now. Like no one will ever break into your fucking house or stay or steal anything if they see that shit.
That's my horror PSA. If the dog claws at a rug and you see what looks like to be blood leading into an under, like a trap door or whatever need be, that's when you say, fuck this. I've seen too many horror movies. I am fucking
out.
leaving.
Peace.
I wrote down like, why is the fucking addict going through withdrawals the one making the most fucking
Yes.
sense
Yes.
right now?
I know. She's like, oh, so we didn't fucking smell anything, huh, guys? Like,
Didn't smell anything, Natalie, you stupid fucking bitch.
stupid bitch.
But yeah, like I said, as soon as I would see that blood, I'm like, nope, I'm out of here. And if anybody's like, oh no, we spend this, no, I don't care how much money you fucking spend on this thing. If my ass has to walk all the way back home, I'm
Yep, I'm
walking back
walking.
home.
See, I do love that they gave a reason for not wanting to leave. Like in the original, it was like, okay, no, we're not going to leave. We're not
Everything's
gonna do
fine,
this.
everything's
Like,
fine,
No,
yeah.
whatever. Just chill out. Whatever. I'm glad that they gave like a good reason for not wanting to leave, or being like, we can't just drop and run at the at the first sign of
sign,
any
yeah.
little thing
Yeah.
that happens because she's going to try and do this. Like it really was, real world kind of thing where it's like she's an addict. She's going to say anything. She's going to try and do anything to just get the fuck out of here. But as it went on, I'm like,
And
okay,
you see the
we
blood?
need to stop listening to fucking Olivia. 'Cause
Yeah.
we need to get the fuck out of here.
No, when they go down, I wrote a note that stinky ass, creepy ass nightmare dungeon that they find in the basement is enough
With
for
all
me
the
to
dead
be
animal-
like, peace, we're out of here.
With, if the blood on the floorboards wasn't enough, when you see all those animals
Cats
Yes.
hanging up, yeah, no,
I would
fuck,
be
out
like,
of here.
Leatherface is around here fucking somewhere, and
Yeah.
I'm gone.
And Eric's just carting around the fucking thing they found in the creepy ass nightmare dungeon, the book.
Oh my gosh.
If
Again,
something is wrapped in a trash bag, then barbed wire, maybe
dude-
that's not for you.
That dude was the one who pissed me off the most. Because we know what the Book of the Dead is. Because
I
obviously this is a
blame
movie.
Eric for
Oh, yeah. This is
everything.
totally
You
Eric's
see
fault.
people that are writing notes on there. Do not speak it.
Yes.
Do not think it.
Like
do not
specifically
any of
what
that.
he said. It's really said,
Yeah.
do not raid. Like, do not raid.
It's got it in red, and then they have the what is it? The chant or the whatever spell that it is that gets the demon to come out, and he
Yeah.
gets the pieces of paper, and he does.
Yeah,
the
he's gonna
scratch
do the
thing, and
rubbing
The
thing.
rubbing.
He
And
does the rubbing thing, and he fucking says the phrase. I'm
As
like,
he
you
does it, yeah.
dumb son of a bitch.
I mean, like, I get it. You find a creepy book and you got to read it. I'm that person.
Okay.
I am that person. I would probably open it and
Truth
probably
be
flip
told,
through it, but I'm not reading aloud.
I would open the book. I would totally open the book.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, it could be a fucking, like an encyclopedia, and I'd be like, something's wrapped in a trash bag.
Yes,
and
I have
barbed
to
wire.
see
I'm
what
like,
it
I need
is.
to know
Yeah.
what this book is.
I would be
Curiosity.
like, nope, not me. I'd be like, I've seen too many horror movies.
Hey,
I'm
as
a white
long as-
person. I'm curious.
As long as you don't say the shit out loud, then I'm like, I'm good. Just
Yeah.
don't ever read it and say it out loud.
See, you would think that, but then there's gonna be some dumbasses who'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna read this book fuck out loud. I'm like, no.
I'm not leaving it laying around. And that's the other thing, too. I'm like, this is a fucking, like, Jeff Van Vonderen would be pissed at you fucking assholes. I'm like, first of all, you have an addict and you know that they're going to do anything, right?
Like, Jeff Van Vonderen is from Intervention. He's an interventionist.
And then you leave the fucking keys just on the table and be like, oh, whatever. And then later when she starts to change or whatever, become the deadite, I'm like, who the fuck just left the shotgun laying around for this addict to find?
Right? Like, you already said she's going to do whatever she can to get it out of here. Like, what if she shot off her foot?
Yeah. I'm like, how are you going to fix this, Olivia? Boom.
Come on, pick up your guns, people. But Mia wants out. Like, Mia's smelling shit. She was not jazzed about the book. She even tells Eric, you should have left that thing. You shouldn't have touched anything down there.
You shouldn't have touched anything down there.
And then she goes outside when she's walking around and she's, like, clearly still going through her detox or whatever.
And nobody notices that she was out fucking side. Like,
no, they did. They did. Olivia saw her.
They just kind of were like, just let her walk around and just, at least she's not, bitching about anything or, trying to get out or this and that. But as soon as I'm like, I'm like, nightgown girl in the woods, I'm like, you're on your own. I'm not coming in. I'm not getting you help. I'm like, you stay out there.
Stay out there,
like,
nightgown girl. No, and she sees that. She's like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah,
it's time to leave.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing about it is like having it be like an addict that you're trying to just get out of everywhere and get them to kick their habit or whatever. And going in with that thing where like she's going to try anything, she's going to say anything. So it's like nothing that she said was going to be believable to them, right?
Yeah.
Like she couldn't have come in and be like, I just saw this random girl outside. We need to get help. Like no one was going to believe her. They were all going to think that she was just full of shit anyway because of Olivia's, constant like, she tried this, she tried that. Like let's just fucking do not listen to this bitch kind of thing.
Yeah.
I wrote down our summer cabin was used to get rid of a demon. The next Geraldo.
But Mia leaves. She takes the keys that they've randomly left lying around.
Even when she's driving away in that little station wagon type thing, she's screaming out, "What the fuck am I doing?"
Yeah. Well, she's still coming down.
Yeah.
This is why you don't do detox without a professional, guys.
And don't leave the fucking keys laying around either.
But when she sees the girl again and it veers her off the road, she gets in an accident because she sees nightgown girl standing in the middle of the road.
You run over a nightgown girl.
I know,
straight go through
right?
Nightgown
like
girl.
I could see slamming the brakes. If I see something in front of me, I'm gonna slam the brakes. But jerking the wheel that hard,
that doesn't ever end well.
Hey, at that point, it ain't your fault, man.
Nope.
What is the thing?
Any movie where you're driving in the middle of the woods and something's out in the fucking middle of the road or whatever, run it over. That's the horror PSA.
Well, what's the thing?
Run it over.
What's the thing that they teach you in any of those driver's eds classes is if you see anything in the road that you're going to hit, it's better to go through it.
It's better to hit it than not.
Yeah.
It really, I mean, if it was a deer, if it's a Bigfoot, like if it's fucking hillbilly redneck cannibals, like it doesn't matter. Like just
go through the thing.
Run them over. If they're walking in the middle of the fucking road, that's not your problem. That's not your fault.
Yeah.
Oh, but then we get that tree rape scene again. We also get Demon Cam.
Yes.
He's moving through the woods.
Of course
Demon Cam.
Yes, Demon
have to
Cam.
have Demon Cam.
Yes, and it's chasing
It's not
Mia.
an Evil Dead movie without the Demon
No,
Cam.
I love its little because in the original when it was trying to take over them, it started talking to Cheryl, I believe, first, and he was like, "Come join us, Cheryl," and she just walked outside like some weirdo.
Yeah.
But in this one, Mia's like, "Nope." Like she hears her name, and she's like, "Get away from me! Get away from me!" The tree scene though, is so creepy.
I really like that the tree parts didn't move until it was the thing that came out of the deadite Mia or whatever.
Yeah, and it was almost like a snake.
Yeah, well, it was almost like the other parts of the tree. It was like, okay, is the tree alive or is she just getting tangled in her own? And I really liked that they did it that way. And then it was kind of like, an homage to the original, but at the same time, not as like cheesy as seeing that, all the stuff. But when the thing actually came out and came into her and like actually moved around, I'm sure they did that the same. It was the same, shoot it in reverse kind of thing that they did in the original. But I really liked that that was the only part that actually moved and you could see move. And the rest was kind of like, is this in her head still? Or is this kind of, the tree?
There are some things that they've done that make it so much more believable for me, which makes all those like cringy scenes, the painful scenes, even more cringy. I mean, as a woman, if I see a tree crawling up somebody's leg to rape them, that's gonna make me cringe either way. But when she takes that breath and then releases that scream, like that's a true pain kind of reaction.
That is pain and terror.
It's what reminds me of when your kids, when they do the whole
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then they do that.
And then they do that. Yes.
They're like, oh no, I know what's coming.
It took her back.
Like
to,
I know.
she
It's
just-
like I know what's coming.
She resorted to like just the basics.
Yes, and that's one of the thing that makes these practical effects so great, because they've added it in with those realistic responses without doing CGI or anything. So like every time like she would get stabbed or somebody would get stabbed or like that scene, like I would physically cringe because like you could feel it. Like I was like, oh.
when Olivia is stabbing Eric with the syringe.
Oh yeah,
That's
the needle in the eye.
Yes.
Yeah,
when
you
he
just
pulls it
go,
out of his eye,
"Ugh."
that's the one that just makes you go.
Yeah, like it.
Oh, I
I
love
don't
it.
know what it is about this movie, but when they do those scenes, it just sends a shiver up my spine every time. I'm just like, oh god, get it out of your eye.
I think a lot of the scenes with Eric were like that too, because when he walks in on Olivia when she's cutting off her cheek,
Yeah.
and then he slips on
the cheek?
and
Yeah.
hits,
Yes, he slips on the cheek.
and
I
hits
love
the
that.
fucking toilet and fucks
Oh,
up his
that
back.
hurts.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Eric, you're back.
It's
But
like
you
that-
deserve it, you stupid motherfucker.
It's like you can feel that pain. It's like, oh, but yeah, he deserved it because he's the fucking idiot who unleashed it.
Yeah, no, I wrote. Mia's out there getting raped by fucking trees. Meanwhile, Eric's getting his fucking PhD in the book because he's just reading it and taking notes and like figuring shit out. Like, what are you doing, Eric?
And then the fucking idiot says, I did something bad.
Oh no, I like it because he doesn't even realize it until she gets back. Right? She gets back. She's like, I was
Well,
raped by a tree.
Okay,
Like she
but
starts
even-
saying stuff.
Here's my thing about Eric, though, right? Even when he does realize it, he still doesn't. He never really admits that it was his fucking fault. Like he was never like, "Oh, I think it's just the witchcraft." Because there's a line where he's like, "It's just the witchcraft."
No, he admits it.
No.
Yeah, he
no,
later
no,
admits it.
no,
Yeah,
no.
he does. He says it.
right before he's dying. He's like, "I read something I shouldn't have."
I
But
let
he
it
did-
out. He
yes,
says, I let it out.
Yes, but he never copped out to be like, I read something out loud and brought this, and I had to do the rubbing to get it. Like he was full on. Like
Nobody
he,
does that. Nobody
No.
goes
No,
through all of their
but-
issues.
Yeah,
Pauls.
but he did not own up to it fully. Like it was kind of more of a dying after the like I let it out. It was me.
Hey,
He's like, it was my fault.
people never admit fully to what they
Yeah,
do.
Okay, so my point. Okay, Eric is the fucking guy that would get bit and not tell anyone in a zombie.
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Eric is that asshole. So that's when like fuck Eric. He's the whole reason this king. Everyone
Because
died
his
because
fucking
of Eric.
dumbass, he starts realizing everything that happens because he starts.
Well, when
remem-
Mia burns herself,
Yeah.
when she comes back in the next morning, they're like, she's in the shower, and then she's just standing in the shower
Yeah.
with hot water.
And then you see the little note on there saying boiling water. Or
well,
whatever
yeah,
you say.
he sees the picture of the chick doing it in the book or whatever, and then he's like, fuck, maybe that
You're like,
was
uh-oh.
me.
Okay, no. Here's what I wrote down. Right, I put Eric sat through Mia turning, Olivia turning, slashing her own face, stabbing him in the eye multiple times with a syringe, and stabbing him in the chest for him to finally come clean about the book. And that was the first time that he said, I don't think it's this. I think it was something in that book.
Yeah.
No, he says flat out. I wrote the quote. I did something, David.
Yeah,
So,
but I
like
thought
he
that was-
comes,
Yes,
yeah,
he says
pops up
he
to
says
it.
I did something, David, but then David was kind of like, no, I don't know. Like they just kind of glossed over it. Like he never fully, like until way later, was like, I read something out of the book.
Yeah,
it
it's
was
when he was
all my
dying.
fault.
Well, don't even get me started on David. David's like clearly don't be alone after people get taken, right? But he's sending his fucking girlfriend back into the house to be alone. Like, no, David,
Yeah, I don't
figure
know.
out what's going on around you, bitch.
See, no, David was kind of
when Mia finally turns, before Mia finally turns and she's talking to David in the room. I'm like, clearly Mia is crazy. Like you can see she looks like a scared animal.
yeah.
Like you need to get her out of here.
Yes.
Yeah, when it was the scene where it was after I think it was before Olivia did all that stuff in the shower, right?
Before she turns, yeah.
And when she comes out and she's like, I don't know, she's talking about some lady in the woods and trees and shit like that.
Pulled some thorns out.
Yeah, I pulled the thorns out and all that. And then when David goes in to see Mia and she's just like that frightened look on her
Yeah,
face.
like she looks like a scared animal.
She was just sitting there like, we need to get the fuck out of here.
Something has followed us.
Yes.
In the room with And he was like, are they in the room with us now?
I think so. I think they are.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll be back.
But no, when Mia comes out, I like how when they first get taken, it's almost like a seizure.
Yeah.
Like they just freeze and it's kind of like they're jerking around or whatever. But when Mia gets taken and then they she hops on top of Olivia and pukes that bloody shit all over her face. I'm like, close your mouth, bitch, close your mouth.
Oh, that's
Close your mouth.
the actress that played Mia. She was like, I felt so bad having to do
Yeah.
that scene, but I mean, it's great. It fucking works. But the thing about Mia and David when they first get there, and Mia is like, do you remember that lullaby Mom used to sing to us? And I'm like, who the fuck remembers lullabies?
I know, we
that
were
their parents
babies.
only- And I'm like, and then when you find out like she died and she was crazy or whatever, like, the mom died in a mental hospital. Or whatever, I'm like, was this bitch just singing lullabies to you? And you're like, you're teens.
I know. David's like, I always thought that one of
What's
us would be
going on?
crazy, and Eric's like, no, David, no.
See, and that's the thing is like, Eric didn't cop to it enough to get through to David's crazy head. We're like, it's just us. We're all crazy. It's my crazy family.
When Olivia gets taken, like, I do enjoy again how it's subtle. Like the doors don't slam shut; they just like quietly close, so they don't
was a
really
polite
draw
demon.
attention. But no, they don't draw attention, so that doesn't alert anybody else that somebody is getting
Oh, yeah,
taken.
it's divide and conquer.
Yeah. And so like when she just stops and like you see her face, you just see that she's getting taken. I love that part. And then when she pees herself,
She pees. It looks like orange Gatorade.
She needs water.
Like, that bitch
You need to
needs some
hydrate.
cranberry juice
Yeah.
to clean something. She's got a UTI. Or
you need to
something.
hydrate.
Pedialyte, here you go.
She peed straight Pedialyte would look like.
Yeah, and then after like when Olivia attacks him, that scene, that bathroom scene is when Olivia attacks Eric. It's so brutal. Like we said with
yeah.
the needle to the eye, but even other than that, like she throws him into the mirror or something, doesn't she?
Yeah,
all
She
the
tosses him around a few times.
Yeah.
Like when he first slips, it's the toilet on the back, and then she starts coming after him, and I think they fight for a bit.
and when does he get stabbed?
Yeah,
With
I don't
the-
see that. I
with the
think
glass.
it was the
It was the glass,
it
so
was
she
the
stabs him
glass.
with the glass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because she was doing it with her face, and she had it, and then she stabbed him, and then I
That's
think
right.
when he hit her or whatever, and like,
Yeah, and then they go out to the shed so they can patch, the pin cushion Eric back up, and he's like, he needs sugar and water. Go inside. Like, no, bitch, have you not seen what's
Yeah.
going? I'm not going anywhere by myself.
I wrote down, I'm like, well, Olivia was their medic professional, so I guess it's just duct tape from here on out.
Hold this.
That's all
I'm
we got.
gonna duct tape it right
He even
quick.
says it too. He's like, well, like fuck it, because he just puts the duct tape on.
I've got gauze and duct tape, Eric. Sorry, man. But you can't do this to yourself, you fucking asshole.
And then poor Natalie goes back into the house because David wasn't paying attention to the fucking situation.
No, he wasn't.
Read the room, David. You
Yes.
don't go anywhere by yourself after two other people have been taken.
I love what happens to her though. Natalie.
Natalie with her arm.
The thing that made me cringe is she gets bit on what? She
Oh,
gets
the
bit on
hand.
It's
thing?
like the
Yeah.
hand between the thumb
Yeah,
and your
because
index.
she goes by herself to the kitchen, the
Yeah.
door closes, and then the fucking basement pops open by itself.
Yeah, she gets bit, and then when she goes to the kitchen to wash it out, and how she's squeezing all
Those
the
little,
black,
like,
yeah,
the black like
all the
worm
black
look- they
starts
look like
coming
little
out.
like tiny leeches.
Oh no,
kind of like
that
this.
part was so satisfying to me. I'm like, yeah, pop those
Just,
fuckers.
like,
Like,
get the
come
evil
on.
out.
Yeah.
Get it out.
No,
Keep
before
squeezing it.
what made me cringe is when she goes down, a dumbass goes down the stairs, the basement stairs, to talk to fucking Mia. Like,
The
Oh
knife.
yeah,
yeah, and then she gets that knife and she cuts
The
her
razor,
tongue.
Yes.
And that's not necessarily the
Oh,
part
yeah.
that makes me cringe. It's the "kiss me, you dirty cunt," and then she's just like tongue it, and I was like, "No, don't,
well, when-
close your mouth, teeth up, man, teeth up." Ah!
Well, I think was it before that or after that when she has the basement hatch open and you could see Mia looking and she's like, "La."
yeah, yeah, you have to have the crazy
I
tongue.
wrote that on like Cunnilingus zombie, and then she cuts her tongue and like, "La."
Oh, and then just we cut to after she finally gets out of the basement, and she does have that hand or whatever. And I'm like, oh, now David wants to pay attention and lock the basement and do all that shit. But like, then it cuts to old One-Eye Eric just sitting there sulking about the book not burning. Poor One-Eyed
It
Eric.
won't burn. No, fuck Eric. No,
I
there's
thought
no
it would
poor
happen.
One-Eye Eric.
I thought it would help.
It's
Here's
his
my
fault.
question on the book. Obviously, you can't burn it, right?
Yeah.
What happens if you start trying to tear the pages out?
I don't know if you tore them out, and then what would you do with them? Like just
Hide them.
bury them separately?
Well, here's the thing. Here's my thing I would have done. Where the thing where it has the dude's name and it says don't say it or whatever need be or never need be. I would tear that page out and I would go hide it. So you make sure that nobody says his fucking name.
Well, if you couldn't burn it, I'm wondering if you could rip the pages out at all. Like it's
That's
probably.
what- yeah.
I would doubt that if it wouldn't even allow you to burn the
Well,
book.
that's why
probably
Ash kept it.
protected,
Ash
yeah.
kept it because he couldn't get rid of it. And he was like, well, if it's with me, it's better off.
That's
with
what I'm
everybody
curious
else.
if you can tear the pages out.
Until he got high one night and
Yeah.
started reading the book to some lady friend.
When they leave Natalie alone yet again, and David and Eric are in the back talking about the book, and he's like, it's not a science book. Well, bitch, you were the one fucking studying it like it was.
Well, who the fuck decided to start reading shit after rubbing it so you could see what the fuck the words were?
Yeah.
Oh, but then it starts taking Natalie's hand.
Fuck you, Eric.
The Natalie's hand scene I love for a number of reasons.
Don't cut it. Don't cut that.
Yeah.
You better not cut that.
Her little, like, that is such a reminiscent scene of the original, right? Like her talking out of.
Do that.
Yes.
What are you doing?
I love that. And the little snicker she does and like all the giggling and stuff. I love crazy deadite Mia underneath the house.
Gonna die tonight.
But when like it starts going up her arm and she just gets that electric knife cutter thing. So I was like, oh, don't do it. I'm like, why are you going so far up on your arm too? Like
it started going up.
You
though.
gotta cut
well,
off
it
the
did,
infection.
and I get it, but like she was like almost to her shoulder. I'm like, do it at the bottom because it hadn't gone up past her elbow yet. I'm like,
You
do it
don't
at the
know
elbow.
that.
Do it at the elbow.
Well, maybe she was like, I don't know how fast it's going, so if I do it up here, I think that's the safe zone. Which
Oh.
obviously it wasn't, because after she cut it off, like she was still infected or whatever.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know.
no, and like when she cuts it off, I love how she screams and she's just covered in blood. Like as it's going through, the thing's just exploding blood all over, which is great gore. But when David and Eric finally come back in and she's standing up, she's like, I feel much better now. And it's still kind of attached.
Dangling.
And then it slides off.
Yeah.
I love that part.
Just like one last like
Yes.
strip of like meat or whatever.
I'm
that's
like,
hanging, like,
I'm like, that bitch is too skinny. She wouldn't be standing up. She has lost way too much blood.
yeah.
She would have
Like,
passed
she's
out.
like, "Blah."
She probably hadn't eaten in hours. Like, no.
No, because she was cutting that really rare roast that they
I know,
made
that was
earlier
really
in the
rare.
day. I'm like, who the fuck is like, we're gonna make this nice roast for the withdrawal.
Natalie turns after they again leave her alone. They patch her arm wound up, but then they leave her in
More
the back
duct tape.
bedroom. Like,
More duct tape.
why are you leaving bitches alone? Stop leaving people alone. This is like a common theme now, guys. But when Natalie turns, like,
Because there was two guys in some lab watching via TV.
Yes.
And they were like releasing all these like no,
closing
wait.
the door slowly,
Yes,
like
wait,
cabin in the
let's
woods.
separate. Yeah.
But yeah, poor pincushion Eric gets the ever living shit beat
Stop
out of him
saying
with the
poor pincushion Eric. Fuck Eric, man.
Fine.
Yeah, fuck it.
It
He's
was
the one who
Pincushion
Eric's
Eric.
fault.
pincushion
Fuckface Eric.
gets the ever living shit beat out of him by Natalie in a crowbar.
deservingly.
Oh, when she hits that hand and his hand just kind of like explodes open, I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
god,
it splits right there.
Yeah.
Like, ah! Like, damn, Eric.
And then when she hits him in the head and he kind of like
Boom.
goes sideways, I'm like, that's not.
When he has that, yeah, and they have that one spot like right before David uses the shotgun or whatever,
Yeah.
and he's sitting there and like he's just like, Eric knows like this is it, like one more hit, I'm
Yeah.
fucking done, man. Like,
And then after David shoots her or whatever, then Eric just starts laughing. I'm like,
Well, don't forget that she was shooting everybody with the
oh yeah,
with
like
the nail gun.
oh yeah, he
nail
had
gun.
well, that's the thing, yeah, he got the needle in the eye and the glass
In the chest.
in the chest, and then they patched that up, tried to burn the book. He came back, and then it's the nail gun, like
nail gun through his
Like he was
arm
getting
and
shot
his
everywhere,
hands.
like chest, arms,
Yeah.
like it was everywhere. So, yeah, he fucking
And then he got
deserved
a traumatic
every
brain
single
injury with
bit
that crowbar.
of this.
Yeah, he deserved all of
every
it.
Well, it's his fault everything happened. David decides that, okay, enough people have died. Maybe Eric's correct and we need to burn this place to the ground.
Yes.
What does a filthy soul smell like?
I don't know.
Because that was in the same scene that where
Natalie and
Natalie
Mia.
falls down in the basement. She's like, I can smell your filthy soul. Kiss me, you cunt.
I know. It's very Exorcist.
That's very.
Yeah. But David's like, okay, we're going to burn this down. And that's when Mia sings that little lullaby and changes his mind. And he's like, all right, I'm going to bury her alive. And then he goes to the shed and rigs a defibrillator up.
Well, doesn't
Yeah.
he
Hey,
get
it
that
works,
thing from
man.
Eric, where he tells him, "Oh, this is what you need to do. You need to do all
Yeah,
these
you need to
things."
cleanse them.
Eric finally figures out enough. He's like, look, we either need to dismember her,
Bury
we
her
need
alive.
to burn her, or bury her alive.
Yeah, and that's why he wants to burn the cabin in
Yeah,
the first
and then
place.
fucking David was like, what if she just needs a doctor?
Yeah.
Really? And like,
David.
I'm like, God damn it,
David,
David.
read the room.
Like, how many more people have to die for you to fucking realize there's something going on here?
And then David decides he's got to go in the basement and get Mia
Yes.
because he's going to bury her alive.
I love the fact that he's going to, I think he was going to go, he puts the he puts the gas or whatever on the door. Was she still down there, right?
Yeah, and then that's
And
when
he
she
was
sings
about
the
to-
lullaby.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was about to do that, and I love the fact that his "I can't do this" was not like I'm just gonna let her out. It was more like I'm gonna fucking bury this bitch alive instead,
Yeah.
in hopes that we can bring her back. So
With-
I'm like, at
with
least it
my
wasn't a stupid
car battery
like,
defibrillator.
He finally started to not be as dumb at that point. He's like, no, I'm gonna kill her and then bring her back. We'll see if that works.
Well,
Instead of
I
just
liked
burning
how
her.
he was smart enough to go around the rules.
yeah.
Because he cut up his girlfriend because he said you have to dismember her, so he does that. Olivia, he sets her body on fire, doesn't he?
Does he? I don't remember.
Yeah, he sets.
that.
Yeah, he sets her body on fire, dismembers the girlfriend, and then buries his sister alive.
But then he doesn't. When Eric goes down to help him with Mia, and he
Yeah.
doesn't do anything to Eric.
No.
Like
I know. Like
I
you
was like,
just-
why would you even trust that he's dead? You can never trust
Yeah,
that
like,
that
you
person
leave,
is
like,
dead.
You just leave him there, like, and especially like you just leave him under the water, so he can just do whatever the fuck you want.
and I was like,
he's
is it
gonna come
necessary
around,
that
right?
you needed to redress her to bury her alive?
You know,
Well,
what
I
was
don't-
with the
yeah, I
dress?
don't
I
get
don't
that.
get that either. Like, it's just kind of weird. I don't know. Well, she was gonna get married. He's gonna like, well, if she's gonna die, and I can't bring her back, then at least she's wearing something nice.
No, the one thing that's funny is when the first time I showed this movie to Kim, we did the on-demand thing on IFC, and I know this sucks if you haven't seen it before, see it all the whole way through, because if you see it on demand through IFC, it cuts off as soon as Mia comes up and normal and they're hugging. It ends right there.
Really?
Yes.
What?
Yeah. It
Why?
ended- I don't know. It ended right then and there. But when we saw that, I'm like, wait a minute, no. Because this was like the third time I had
So
seen it.
you
I'm
don't
like,
see the abomination at
No,
all? What
no.
the fuck, man?
yeah, they cut it off right there.
That's like the best ending. You have like the whole abomination coming out. I love that ending.
So that was like the happy ending because I'm like, I know all this other shit happens, but when it ended right then and there, I'm like, what the fuck? So if you do watch this, do not watch the IFC in demand version of it because it's not going to show you the full thing because there's what
Boo IFC.
still maybe another 20 minutes left on the movie where we have her where she gets resurrected and then
She fucks up the abomination.
you miss like if on the IFC one you miss David's death and then you miss pretty much everything else.
Mia comes back, and I do like when I like David's death. And here is where I do believe David was taken.
I don't think he was.
Because if he was not taken, he wouldn't have had 5 souls. Therefore, the raining blood never would have happened.
But he still dies, though.
But
he
he
still
feasts on his
dies.
souls. It says if the guy feasts on 5 souls, that means he gets to come back.
because
So,
he died.
But he still died. But I think that he did get taken before he died, like the
Where?
other guy did. Because
How?
I don't think the other guy wasn't taken before he
Eric?
died. Yeah, Eric comes back as a deadite.
yes.
So I think that once David was dead, he was taken.
I don't think he
Well,
was.
They take
I
his
just- I
soul,
just-
and that's why it rains blood, because there's no other reason for it to happen.
Okay,
because
so
the
he
thing would
was-
have not come back had he
Okay,
not
but-
finished the ceremony.
But I just think I don't know if he was I'm not saying he didn't turn into a deadite to me, but
Yeah.
but the fact that a deadite killed him, I think, counts towards the total tally of 5 souls.
Yeah.
So I think just the fact that he died was enough for the abomination to come and all that shit.
I
know
don't
Kim
think
said,
so.
Because I know Kim said she saw his eyes turn like, no, that is the reflection of the fire.
No, I think he was turning. I think that's what happened. Because there's no other way he wouldn't have gotten all the souls.
But if he had turned, why would he kill himself?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't? Well, no, he was starting that anyway, and he had already shot it before he fully turns. And when Natalie turns, she's flashing in and out. Because before she cuts off her arm, she has that thing where she does the little twitch,
But she
and
ma-
then she comes back to cut off her arm.
But her
So
makes
it's
sense
not-
because she got bit by somebody that was infected or whatever
But
it may be.
David's been around all the blood. David's been touching everything and everybody. Like, David's gonna be infected because it's not a virus. They take you. It's a demon. So you don't have to be infected. You just have to be around them. I mean,
Yeah,
they
but did
took
they ever take
Olivia.
Eric?
Well,
Yeah,
see,
they
but
take Eric.
Yeah, because
He comes back. That's who kills David.
Okay, but I don't know. I think the fact that you have Natalie with the little black shit and spreading like it's some sort of infection kind of fucks with you because I'm like, I don't know how David or even Eric would have got it. They didn't get
Because
bit,
Olivia
they didn't
gets
get
It
thrown
was
up
in her
on.
mind, guys, because when she cuts it off and it falls to the floor, it's a healthy limb.
I guess I don't know.
It's not all decrepit.
But you still see it like spreading in her,
Yeah.
like really, like when after she cuts it off, like her face starts to show all
because
that.
she's fully taken.
See, the reason why I don't think
But
he
she's
was
still
ever taken over is because, again, he was the one who was smart enough to figure out and go around the rules.
No.
Because what he just
His dumbass was out there fucking everybody up. His dumbass is why Natalie's dead. David was not smart.
But
No.
no, he was smart about
Eric
how he.
is the reason.
Eric was the
Eric
one who
is the-
fucked everything up, though. But I'm thinking the only reason why I don't think he was taken is because he was smart enough to figure out, okay, if I dismember Natalie, if I set Olivia on fire, and I bury my sister alive.
But why would that save him from the Deadites? That doesn't make any sense. Just because
he was
he's
smart enough to figure all that other stuff around. Because
So they don't take smart people, is what you're saying?
He bent the rules. That's why I don't think he got possessed.
But he
I
still
don't think
died.
so.
I don't
Yeah,
think
he still
Yeah.
died. I'm with Paul's. I'm with Paul.
I don't like. I'm 50-50 on whether he turned or not. But
I don't
mean,
think he turned, but
I think the simple fact that he died at the hands of a Deadite was enough to be like, that's 5 souls now.
That's what I think.
I don't think so.
Well, the
'Cause
dog
it's-
didn't count either way, so that's why dogs have no souls apparently. So,
I
So
don't.
do all dogs go to heaven, or was that a lie?
I don't know, because I always grew up believing all dogs go to heaven, but now fucking Evil Dead's got me thinking, well, if dogs don't count, then I mean, well, I guess maybe dog
So the
souls
dog
don't
counted.
count
The
if
dog
you're
counted.
if they don't count as the Deadite souls that they need human souls to come back or whatever. I guess I don't know.
Well, see, when they take your souls, that's when you become a Deadite.
Yeah, but then if the dog
But it's-
couldn't count because otherwise you could just kill 5 birds, like one shotgun. 5
No,
birds.
that's why there
Abomination's
were
back.
5 people, because they had already taken Mia. And then after she comes back, because they've cleansed her or whatever, but they've already taken her, so that's still 5.
Okay, but
That's
but
why I
it
don't think he
didn't.
was.
But okay, so if David would have died, and before Mia got buried and all that,
Mm-hmm.
so would that have been counted as 5?
Yeah. Then
But
the abomination
see, I'm
would have
taking-
came back.
No, but I'm taking it as 5 people had to die.
No,
Yes.
I took it as 5 people had to have had their souls feasted on, because
I
that's
don't
what
know.
the book
I
says.
took but it says their souls are feasted on in hell, so they have to die first.
Yes.
No, because they technically say that they've already taken Mia. Like
Yeah.
he cleanses her and gets her soul back. Like
Yes.
that's what they do, because
Yes, but he
the Deadite
cleanses
version
her.
says your sister's in hell being
Okay.
raped with your mom or some shit like that.
Okay, but you think that's like the truth, or that's just the fucking Deadite talking shit? So
Well, if we're just gonna get
Okay.
into semantics, all of this
No.
is just us talking shit
okay,
about
well
it.
then, but my point was nothing happened until David died.
Yes.
And
Yes,
that's-
because it was 5 souls.
Yes, because Mia died already at that point.
Yeah.
So she died, and it wasn't about her being infected with the Deadite. It was more her actual body, her person on Earth died.
And she was
So
cleansed.
that's a death.
So she gets
That's
her
why
soul
she
back.
got. That's why
She
she
came
got
back
rid
with no
of
soul?
That's why she got rid of the Deadite or whatever.
Yeah.
But the fact that she died, I think that's something. It's 5 deaths.
Well,
I don't
see,
think-
I took it more of like it was an attachment. So something was attached to Mia's soul, right? And was basically took her soul out of her body and
So
sent
is
it somewhere
still
else.
there?
No, because she died, and then when she got back, her soul came back to her. Kind
So
of.
you're
a thing.
saying that once the Deadite fully took over, the soul was not there at all.
Yes.
There was no Mia, and then anything was just a tricky kind of like the lullaby shit.
Yeah, that was
like
all.
that was the Deadite just using the memories.
Yeah,
and
the flipping back and
everything.
forth like they
Yeah,
always
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Yeah. And so then I think that to take the soul, you have to get in there. You have to have fully taken them. And then they needed 5 of those. And then that's when the raining happened. But because Mia was dead and brought back, that's why she's still alive. But technically, she still died. They still had her soul.
So it's the deaths, not the soul.
No, it's the
It's
soul.
So she has no soul when she got back.
Yeah,
to
that's
Did
life?
you
But
just
she don't
not
have
hear
no
me?
death?
I
No.
said when she comes back to life, her soul comes back to her all clean.
But then they don't have her soul anymore. So how
No.
does it count?
But
Yeah,
they already
lost
took
the
it.
soul.
But
They-
they don't know that.
You're saying
It's-
you're saying the Deadites don't know that they took her soul and gave it back?
It's it's like a ceremony, you guys. It's a process. It's a spell. You got to have the certain things, and once all the boxer takes things happen.
But I'm saying if it takes 5 souls to fill this cup before I can come back as the abomination, and 1 soul leaves that cup, I only have 4 souls.
Yeah.
So
well,
it's-
technically, you've already completed that task. Think of it in that situation.
No.
It's not an accumulation of. It's not like they needed these 5 things to like.
if I'm going to a movie and it costs $5 and I'm like, well, I had $1 yesterday, but it's not
No,
here
no,
anymore.
no. Okay,
Here
let me
are
explain it to
$4
you
now.
this way. Let me
Here are
explain it to you
$4.
this way.
Let me
I
in.
agree with that.
Let me explain it to you this way. In the movie It Chapter 2, They do that ritual
see,
of
no,
Chud,
you're
and they had to
bringing
put
you're bringing
everything
other
in there.
movies. No, we're talking about Evil Dead.
It's
We're
a
talking about Evil Dead.
ceremony. It's a ceremony.
Yes, everything had to
You
go in
had to
there.
have these things, and then once those things were done, the ceremony was started. It's not anything that they had to keep. It was just something they had to do
you know what
to
happened,
get
though?
back to Earth.
Okay, they had to put it in that bucket thing or whatever.
Yes.
And burn it.
Yes, there was a ceremonial process.
So if I burned one of those things outside of the bucket, it doesn't fucking count.
Yes.
Well, technically, that ritual didn't even count anyway.
Okay, so my point is, you can't.
Again, it's all ritualistic stuff.
My point is, you can't have saying we need 5 souls, but then 1 left. That's no longer 5 souls.
It's a demon process. You think they're going to stick to the rules?
Yes, you have to stick to the rules because that's the whole fucking thing of the book. They have to abide by these fucking rules.
There wasn't any rules. It was just, I'm going to read this, and now this thing's unleashed.
Yes,
but if I
and
get 5 people souls, then I get to come back. It's
You
not
don't
if I
need-
have to keep them.
But they don't have 5 souls if
They
that
did at
person
one
has their
point.
soul back.
They did at one
Okay,
point.
I had
Ritual was complete.
I
Rain
had
blood,
$1,000
came
at
back.
one point, and I don't have it now. Doesn't mean I get to spend that 1,000 still.
Hey, it's a demon, man. The demon gets to do what the demon wants to do.
No, because there's
Yes.
certain rules you have to abide by.
He didn't
and
even
then
have
that
to
makes
read any
sense
Latin.
on why
He's just out
what's-his-face
there
wasn't
reading
dead.
things. It wasn't even Latin.
What was in Latin?
Okay, so those words weren't Latin.
It was Kandarian.
Well, they
Yes,
were
come
written. They were written so that a person in English could pronounce it in English.
Okay, just because you didn't pronounce it right, you think that counts?
Yes.
No.
Yes, I
that's not
do.
the
Okay,
same.
Angie, so by your logic, then that kind of proves to me that what's-his-face David was never possessed.
Why?
Because you said they all had to be possessed to do that, right? There's no way of proving that he was possessed.
They had to be possessed to do what?
To get the 5 souls for dude to come be resurrected.
Well, there is no proving it one way or the other, so we're just all arguing about semantics.
He
here.
died at the hands of a deadite, and the death was what counted.
Because now his
There
soul is
had
in
to-
limbo,
there-
and the demons grabbed it and pulled it
There
in.
had to be 5 deaths, and
Yes.
5
Mm-hmm.
deaths occurred. It had nothing to do with souls.
All
It was
right.
the 5 deaths happened, and you got their souls afterwards.
Yes.
I guess. But then, so they
That's what
don't
I'm
get me a
sticking to.
soul, but then they still have the other souls. So Eric, David, and Olivia and Natalie are all in hell.
Yes.
Maybe
Because they never
perhaps.
claims.
I don't know. There, if we follow the canon that Ash versus Evil Dead, and you have that, was it his sister or
Yeah.
it was his sister that came
and his
back,
girlfriend, yeah.
that came back in Ash versus Evil Dead. That's what
Yes,
I'm
it was
talking
his
about.
sister, yeah.
So then, yes, they always have their souls because he never, did anything. Like he was able to defeat it, but he never like cleansed anything. So,
So
yeah,
she's never
so
at
they're
peace.
fucked.
Yeah.
Olivia and David and Eric and Natalie, they're all just fucked.
Well, not necessarily, because you said he burns Olivia,
Yes.
so he's cleansed Olivia. Eric and David both died in fire. They die in the explosion, so
Maybe then,
technically
yeah.
they're
Then,
clean.
yeah, I guess
But I
technically.
don't know what they did with Natalie. Did you say he dismembered her?
Yeah, he dismembered her.
Okay.
Because remember, those were the 3 things he had to do.
Yeah.
to
So if
Natalie-
he's done all that, then all those souls
Okay,
are
then
clean.
yeah, but Natalie dismembered herself, so I think she's good. So yeah, if we're gonna go with that, then yeah, he cleaned them. They cleaned themselves in the
So
fire.
then they don't have any of the souls.
Yes.
So yes, they have no souls.
Well, then fine. Then he.
yes, then
he
there
is
was
soul.
5 deaths. Yes,
There was
thank
5
you.
There was
deaths.
just 5
Thank
deaths.
you. I told you.
Okay. I will concede there were just 5 deaths, not souls.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. Kim over there nodding with
Yes.
Andrew. Yeah,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
But when Mia comes back, I like that they make it think, like they make you think that it didn't work.
Yeah.
Like they show all the trouble he goes to defibrillating
Yeah.
her and all that, and then like it's kind of like the battery dies.
They actually buried her.
I'm sure they did.
No, they
yeah.
really buried the actress in the bag.
You
Yeah,
kind
that
of have to.
No,
Yeah.
And I mean, there was fail safes, but the thing I read in the trivia was like, the director wanted to do it that way. So when you see David being hurried, like, I
He's
need,
like-
to,
he's had a
I
sense
need to
of urgency.
unbury
He's like,
her,
uh-oh.
like real quick. Like that sense of urgency is real. It's like, oh fuck.
Yeah. No, I like that scene. I like how he put like the plastic bag over her head to keep the dirt out
Yeah,
of
he's
her
like,
airways.
David, what are you doing?
Why do you
I
hate me,
love,
David?
I love the tracking when he's putting the dirt, and like you're following the shovel.
I
and
love how she
her
was talking
eyes are
shit.
closed, and then he's like, her eyes are open. Like, why are you doing this, David?
That
love how
was
she's
that was
talking shit.
true deadite to me. Like
Yeah.
She was talking shit.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, oh, you're going to bury me? You're
Yeah.
like, you're going to do this? And like, just to piss him off. Be like, you know you're going to piss him off even more. You're
Yeah,
going to do it.
I wanted the Deadite to talk more. I mean, I don't know. This isn't a comedy. So I mean,
Yeah.
if this was the full Sam Raimi, Evil Dead comedy,
Yeah, it
kind
would
of
have been
thing,
more campy,
it'd have
but
been
it
like,
wasn't.
You're gonna bury me like you bury all your other things, David.
I wanted it to go to the scary movie thing of when Shannon Elizabeth gets her head cut off. Where she talks shit that way.
Yeah.
I hate Shannon Elizabeth. She's so awful. That's the worst one because she screams in that. I'm like, I don't even believe your scream, bitch. Anyway.
You weren't supposed to in that movie, though.
I don't believe her in anything.
And then what? We get the...
You don't like her in 13 Ghosts?
No.
Oh.
She's the worst part of that movie.
I'll give you that, but it was a good movie either way.
And then we get what I like to call the tag your it demon dude chasing her around.
That's the Abomination.
The Abomination.
Some goddamn respect. The illustration for the Abomination, I'm glad I was able to say that clearly, is actually an homage to the poster for the original Evil Dead with the hand.
The hand up, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love when she's trying to get away from the whole scene where it's raining blood and everything. Just fucking.
I just keep thinking of Slayer.
Yeah,
it's raining blood.
Raining blood. Yeah, you have to think of that. Yeah, when she's just like trying to survive, and that's when you get those quick looks of where Alvarez is trying to take your attention. Like she gets into the shed, you see. Do I take the machete or do I take the chainsaw? Yes. And she chooses the chainsaw. And you're like, yes, choose the chainsaw.
The practical effects in that one where Mia is like in between, like behind that wall thing.
Oh, that makes me cringe.
And you get the machete that slices right into her knee. I'm
yes.
Like, oh, yes.
Yes.
I love that so
It
much.
just, like, all those parts become so much more cringy because they're so up close and the practical effects are done so well that you physically put yourself into that. You're like
you see it slice into that. You see it slice into that soft part of her knee.
Yeah, and it's slowly like in and out. Like you're just like, oh, and when it goes through her shoulder, oh, like I'm like, you're smart. Like she's like, she figures out, just go through the fucking wall.
Yeah.
And I've always thought that, like, when we watched The Crazies for last week's episode, I was thinking, like, I know this is an old house, so the walls are probably made of wood, not drywall, but you could probably break through a drywall, like, house if you needed to, right? Like, if you were stuck in a fire, you would be able to knock down some drywall walls.
Into fight or flight, you're going to do whatever you can to get the fuck out of there.
Exactly. That's why I was like, yeah, just go through that little piece of shit wood and get out the side.
I go back to other podcasts where I'm like, Mia versus the Abomination. I'm like, just make yourself not worth it, Mia. Shit yourself.
I don't think that would have. I mean, it's a demon. I don't think she would have cared. Yeah.
Who cares? You don't know what hookup these demons have. They're like, I can't deal.
They're not really worried about anything.
Okay, you know what? The Abomination lasted 10 minutes in the real world, so fuck the demons. All right.
It did.
This is the real world in the Abomination. She got toppled by a fucking Jeep, and Mia with one arm was able to take off the Abomination. So fuck you, Abomination. You couldn't last 10 minutes in the real world.
No.
I love when Mia takes that chainsaw and cuts the feet off of the Abomination. It just falls over.
Like, that reminded me of Monster Squad when the mummy's like unraveling.
Yes.
He's like, and he falls over and does that thing.
I love it, and it's so quick that the Abomination just like knocks the Jeep over. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah,
shoves that Jeep over.
When she rips her arm.
I know. I go back and forth where I'm like, I don't know if skin would rip like that, like because you see it pulling. It's clearly like plastic pulling apart, but I'm like, oh, still, like she's just at a certain point, she's just like, fuck this, I'm getting my arm out of here.
The one thing I've always thought about,
arm or her, man.
Yeah.
The thing that I've always thought about that, especially when she gets her arm pinned on there, obviously to me the dirt is soaked in whatever it is, whether it's blood, rain, or whatever it need be.
It's raining blood.
Yeah, but it had been raining pretty much the entire time there.
Oh yeah.
You would think, okay, the dirt is soft enough to where you can dig your way out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, you could have probably just moved it.
She didn't have time. The Abomination was coming. It was toddler crawling its way over.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But the tension.
Fight or flight, like you said, so it's me or the arm.
The tension is done so beautifully in this film because, like, even though I've seen this movie and I know the ending, when she was getting herself out from the Jeep, I'm like, go faster, go faster.
Let's go faster.
Let's go faster. And then when she finally takes the chainsaw to the Abomination's mouth and she says, feast on this motherfucker. Mm-hmm. And then you get more blood. It's raining blood, and you still get more blood because she shoves that chainsaw into the thing's mouth. Mm-hmm. And just, that effect, that whole scene where she's standing there. And I didn't notice it at first, but when you see it, like she shoves her little stump into the thing so that she could get in there good.
Another little homage.
Yes, I love it. And then when the demon goes to hell, I love that the ground just swallows him up.
Yeah. It's like, all right, well.
Yep.
That was 10 minutes you wasted. So the Abomination's got to go back to hell or whatever. I'm like, really? You were there for 10 minutes?
Like the devil's
so
just
close.
Really?
Like finally one of us gets a chance and you blow it in 10 minutes, you stupid bitch.
Mm-hmm. Like you were only up there for 10 minutes, like you fucker.
I liked it though, like, because you see
the Abomination.
You see the two halves of the Abomination. So you see both the eyes on either side and it's just getting swallowed into the ground. I love that. I love that effect. And then it stops raining blood.
Excellent.
And then poor Mia's just like, I guess I go home now.
How does she explain all this away? Like, oh, all my friends died in a fire and my arm got caught. Like,
we went up there so I could detox, and I'm the only one that survived.
If there's ever a thing that made you want to do some drugs or get drunk or something, it's probably this weekend at the cabin.
This trauma-filled weekend.
Yeah, I'm like, look, I'm going to go on one last bender because, I don't have an arm or a family or friends
Well, the thing
anymore.
that'd be funny, too, is when you see her again, be like, what happened to your arm? Or what happened to your hand?
No, when she comes back and when David's still alive and she's standing on like the dirt mountain, she's like, it was so horrible. I'm like, being in hell? Probably. Yeah. So yeah, she's had a rough day. If you want to do coke, girl, I guess you've earned it at this point.
No way. She goes on to do motivational speaking about how she's like, when I finally kicked drugs, I lost my fucking arm.
I lost my arm, my brother, my two best friends, my brother's girlfriend, who I didn't even really like.
Yes. She's kind of dumb. I didn't like her, but still, she was innocent.
I mean, she didn't deserve it, I guess. We made out once, but
it was all Eric's
I mean, I was a demon at the time.
It was Eric's fault.
It was Eric's fault.
I smelled her dirty soul. It was a thing.
Well, kids, that was Evil Dead 2013. We love this movie. Don't be an Eric. Don't read the book.
There's a couple things I do have to add, though.
Okay, Saul's got stuff to add.
The post.
How did you guys see it? Yeah, the post credits. Did you guys see it on DVD or where did you
we
guys
saw it in the movies.
We saw. Yeah. We originally saw it in theaters and we owned the Blu-ray.
Okay. Here's the one thing. When I saw it initially, I didn't have no idea there was a post credits thing until we saw it last night.
When we saw it in the movie theater, we stayed until the very end.
No, I'm not talking about the.
You're talking about Ash. Yeah, I'm aware.
I'm not talking about Ash.
No, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about the other one. The post credits scene. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Which one?
Where the truck driver finds her.
No, I haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen that.
I think I may have seen it once before. It might be is it a deleted scene or post credits?
We saw the unrated version on Amazon. You get the teaser thing where she's walking along the highway, and she just falls and collapses.
Well, yeah, she's lost a lot of blood.
There's a truck driver who pulls up and says, "Are you okay?" and puts her in a truck and says, like, "We're gonna get you some help." And then all of a sudden, she just mysteriously wakes up. It's weird. It's weird. It was just one of those things. But here's the story that I have to add to this. When they initially released it in the UK, they saw that version and people were like, "How the hell? Where did this?"
Yeah, I read that too in the trivia. Like they accidentally released that version in the UK. Like they showed it on TV or whatever. And so it was. I think that version was. I don't know if it was the same version you watched without the ending, but it was shorter apparently.
No, it was longer.
Oh no, that's right.
It was longer by 4 minutes.
It was longer. It was probably just those scenes.
Yeah, it was that scene. Which was weird.
So there obviously there's an Alvarez cut maybe because the thing that I did read too was that Alvarez and Sam Raimi were fine with NC-17 like the original. But the studio was like, nope, you need to tone it down to an R so we can give you a wide release.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's an NC-17
Yes,
version?
I would like to see the NC-17 version. Yes. I need that in my life.
Yeah, we watched the unrated version. Is what it was, and that's where it has that post-credit.
Maybe ending. That's what it is then. Yeah.
Yeah,
because like I said, when we watched it last night, and we're still watching it because we were waiting for the Ash thing, obviously.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this comes like, wait a minute. I'm like, I don't ever remember watching this at all.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
If that's the unrated version, then I think we've only ever seen the theatrical.
Yeah.
Because I think the one we own is probably theatrical
I do love
version.
that there's just Ash at the end, and he's not connected to the story in any way, but you still get to see his beautiful Ash face.
It's like his people are always like it's kind of his seal of approval on this remake.
Yeah, you say groovy, and he did like. I remember when this movie came out, like he talked about it. He's like, it's not like the original. They take it to a much darker place. They take out the camp, and he was into it at that point.
And I think the fact that they
took it in a different direction.
They probably wanted to make it like a straight remake of the original, especially with the whole Ashton Kutcher and Marlon Wayans.
Yeah, that sounded like studio nonsense.
So I think that's why he wasn't on board with it. He's like, you guys are shitting on everything we've done.
The original was not a studio movie. The original was a good story, and they just needed to get it out of Raimi's head. Basically,
yeah, it was a simple story that was just a bunch of people that did the shit that they know how to do. And
see, Hollywood gets so confuddled sometimes because like you have the moneymakers versus the creatives.
And you have
so
a bunch
difficult.
of execs that don't even watch any fucking movies. They're just like, no, put this person in there, do this. Like, oh, Ashton Kutcher, like people like him right now, throw him in there. I'm like, you fucking assholes.
That never fucking works. Just because somebody's popular at that time, you got to think about it long term.
Yeah, and that's why I really like the horror directors that are coming up today, like because they're fans first.
Yeah.
Like you can tell, like Mike Flanagan is a fan first. Fede Alvarez was a fan first
Yeah.
of this movie.
Josh
Like,
Boone.
yes,
Yeah.
like you can tell, like the nerds of the 80s, like our group of nerds,
Yes.
are coming in and be like, okay, we need to make movies that connect to what we love
Yes.
and what we know.
That's what I really loved about the 2018 Halloween too. 'Cause
Yes.
it does, like, it picks up, and it's like it's made for people that were fans of that original,
Mm-hmm.
and they have little hints to it there, and they link stuff. I love it when like sequels just link stuff to the originals, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, like just the simple fact that they took the time to think about the knitting hole and the side of the Halloween mask in
Yeah.
the 2018 version.
Yes.
I'm like, just that one thing alone, I was like, thank you so much.
Yes. We need, like, because we had growing up, we had all the 2s and 3s and like the versions that were never as good as the
Yeah.
original. And so we still had Michael's storylines, but I think now filmmakers are really being cognitive of like what storylines work to continue on.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
what's
because
gonna-
people do want to see continuations rather than remakes.
Yeah.
And I think that with the horror masters that are coming out now are doing a really great job of taking it somewhere new instead of
That's
just
why I have
rehashing.
such high hopes for an inevitable remake of Nightmare, an inevitable remake of Child's Play. Oh, actually, take
They
it
already
back.
did that, yeah.
Forgot. I mean, like Friday and all those when they make inevitable ones, even though the last ones were But if you have somebody who truly appreciates those franchises, that
Yeah.
you know they're going to put in those little nuances that's
If
going to make them that
if
much
they
better.
let those people actually have a say in the movie,
Yes.
it's gonna work. But
Yes.
I don't know.
I'm really
Friday's
excited.
locked up in fucking litigation.
Yeah,
nightmare
Friday,
right now,
we're
so I don't
never
know-
gonna get
I don't know if
anything
we're
on
getting
that.
a nightmare or a new Friday anytime
But
soon.
like Scream, I'm really excited to see Scream come back
Mhm.
because even Nev Campbell was not on board at first. She was like, I don't want to do a Scream without Wes, and I was fucking there for that, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to do a
See,
Scream without Wes either.
That's the only thing that gives me hope with this one.
Yeah, but then when she was like, okay, I see what you guys are doing. It's respectful to West. It brings on his legacy and takes it somewhere further. I'm like, great. Okay, I'm on board for that because I understand where she was coming from. I don't like not wanting to do something without West because that was West's story. That's why those movies are so good.
I have high hopes for that one, but the other one that I still have high hopes for too is the Candyman remake.
Yes, I am excited. It's not even a remake. It's a continuation.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah,
I
that's
wanted
what- I just wanted to
fucking
come out.
finally.
Yeah, I know. The studios right now is what it's happening because they want to make the money they would have made in the theater, but no theaters are open.
Yeah.
And
I
like you already spent the money, man. Just make what you
It's a tough
can
time,
off
man.
of
I
it.
don't
It
know.
is.
It's such a weird time.
But yeah, the Candyman is not a remake; it's a continuation.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
which
I think
I'm
we're good now.
very excited about as well because Tony Todd's supposed to be in it somewhere, and that I'm really hoping it's the passing of the torch, and we get because if they pass the torch, you could do a whole new series of them.
yeah.
I can ruin
Good
it for
work.
you right now, but I don't think I will because I know everything that happens in that movie. I've read spoilers.
Why would you do that to
Because
yourself?
here's the thing about me, and I'm terrible about this. If I know that there is some sort of information out there on anything, I will seek it out and I will read it.
Nope, I'm just out here trying to enjoy my life. I'll wait.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I'm terrible when it comes to spoilers because
Not
I will
me.
seek them out if I know they're out there,
Not
Well,
me.
that's
and I will not stop until I actually find them. Because here's the one thing everybody tells me is like, you spoil a movie for yourself. I'm like, no. Here's the thing, because the way internet is everything on there is either true or untrue, and until it is proven right to me,
Then why read it?
Yeah.
because I'd rather know.
Oh, fine. Then you're-
Yeah, I'm one of those persons
I'm-
who will never get drawn
You're
into a
reading
cult,
someone's
so
fan
I don't.
fiction.
It's not.
I
Here's
don't.
the thing about
I
it
don't
though.
believe anybody.
Because I know if there's somebody out there that can spoil it, I'd rather not it be spoiled for me. I'd rather spoil it for myself.
Not me.
But if you're going into it thinking it's 50-50 anyway, then how does it spoil it for
Nope. I need
Because
to.
then it gets confirmed to me.
I like to go in. Most of the time when we would go to the movies, I go in with no expectations. I try my best to just have no expectations. That way, I won't be underwhelmed or overwhelmed.
Well, that was Evil Dead, everyone. I
Yes.
don't know whether we're talking about.
We're talking
and,
about
and at the end
Candyman.
and at the end of the day, Hulk Hogan is just a guy from Florida that lied about the size of his penis. So
He
this
is,
has nothing
yes.
to do with anything. So that was Evil Dead, everyone.
You got that right, brother. Got that right.
Right, brother.
That was Evil Dead. It's a great movie. It's such a great remake. So is The Crazies, and so is Maniac. We got one more to do this month, which is
Fright
Fright
Night.
Night.
I'm a little iffy about this
With
one.
McLovin.
We
We've
haven't
never-
seen
yes.
it. We've seen the original, but I've heard good things.
So have I. I've heard.
I don't know.
I've heard good
yeah.
and I've heard bad.
But
You say McLovin, and I'm automatically like,
yeah.
I don't know if I could see him in the.
It's got McLovin, and it's got
I don't know, man.
Colin Farrell, and then it's got the late.
See,
Vampires.
I'm okay with Colin Farrell. I'm okay with
And
Anton
Yelchin.
Yelchin.
Chekhov.
Yes.
Anton
Yes.
Yelchin.
It's so sad that he
Yeah.
died in the stupidest way. The car malfunction.
Yes.
Ugh.
I don't know.
Awful.
Jesus.
But that is it for this week. You guys can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/scarynerd. You can check out more horror entertainment news at scarynerd.com. We will be back next week with Fright Night. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. Listen to us. We love you.
Tell someone. Tell 5 people. Tomorrow.
Yes.
When you hear this,
Push
tell
our
5
podcast
people.
on people. Our people in our
Yes.
lives are really tired of
Push
hearing
our
us talk about podcasts. But we love that you guys are here every week with us, listening to us. And we will be back next week with Fright Night. And coming in March, we're going to be doing fan requests. We've got one for Return of the Living Dead. So that'll probably be our first movie, but we need more. So email us at podcast@scarynerd.com, or you can get us on the social medias, whatever you want to do. Throw some ideas out for us because we don't have any ideas for March yet.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.